Hello, how you doing, Coach?
This is Jason Light, GM in Tampa. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm just watching the draft right now.
Bucs fans, our Fear the Bay Gunners, welcome back to another episode of The Search here on Fear the Bay. This is our draft series, and I'm your host, Daniel Morales. I want to thank you all for the support on the previous episode where we broke down the best edge rushers, the best fits there at that position. A lot of support there. Make sure you guys, if you haven't seen that episode yet, after this video ends, you go watch that one. Also, make sure you like and subscribe and you share this content. Let's boost this content out. Let's make Fear the Bay a household name in this Tampa Bay Buccaneers media market. So I really appreciate you guys and all your support on the previous episode. Today, what are we doing? We're going to break down the linebacker position. And the Buccaneers can find some really good linebackers, not just in day one, but also in day two and a little bit in day number three as well. But it's really weak in day number three, I would say. The bulk, like most positions, is day one, day two. That's where the strength of this prospect class, this linebacker class is at. Now, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were to go into the season today, their starting two linebackers would be Savasier Dennis, who had an up and down season last year, still young, a lot of room for improvement, but Savasier Dennis and Nick Jackson, who was the undrafted free agent last year out of Iowa. The Buccaneers have three veterans at the position who are set to become free agents. One is Anthony Walker Jr., the other one is Deion Jones, and the final one, of course, is the biggest name of them all, Lavonte David. Lavonte David, for him, it's really Tampa or retirement, as he stated on the Kay Adams show. Even if you decide to return, this is still a position of need for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not as big as the edge rush position, but it still is a really a high priority for Jason Light and company to really boost that room, to boost the talent inside of that linebacker room. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to break down the best day one, day two, and day three linebacker fits for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And after all that, after you break down those linebacker prospects and you become really familiar with the players in this year's draft at that position, some of my favorite guys there, we're going to do a 2-round mock draft. So stick through to the end because, again, we're going to have the best day one, day two, day three linebacker fits for your Buccaneers, plus a 2-round mock draft where I'm going to use the PFF mock draft simulator to kind of sort things all out and see how the board falls. Now, when we break down these linebackers at home, if you want to know what the average is of these linebackers when it comes to their PFF grades, because you're going to see stats and stuff, I'm going to talk about different stats and just overall grades for these players. The linebacker class average this year in 2026, when you take a pool of the top 30 linebackers in this class, the PFF overall average grade is a 72 overall. The pass rush average grade for these linebackers, the whole class, is a 69 overall. The run defense grade is, you're going to see with a lot of these guys, the run defense can be much higher than the coverage grade. The run defense grade average for this linebacker class is a 75 overall. The coverage grade, 10 points lower, 65 overall. And then the missed tackle rate is 13%. So that is the average overall you're going to see on the screen as well. Put it up there for you guys. And then throughout this episode also, I'm going to talk about the elite company and how some of these players and some of these categories match up to the elite company average. And if you remember last week, I take sort of the best, the best players at that position currently playing in the NFL. Not all of them, but some of the best players at that position. I take their final year in college and I look at their PFF grades and I kind of average them together so we have a good idea of how these players were at the very end of their collegiate career. So, who is a part of this elite company average? We have 4 players here. We have Fred Warner of the 49ers, probably the best young overall talent, the best linebacker in the NFL. Roquan Smith of the Baltimore Ravens. Jack Campbell, who was an All-Pro this year. And also Jordan Brooks of the Miami Dolphins, who was an All-Pro also this year. So those are the 4 players who are part of our elite company average. Now, I can't include guys like Lavonte David or Bobby Wagner, for example, because their PFF grades don't show up because they're kind of, in their later 30s. Their PFF grade for the final year of college doesn't appear. I can't find those stats. So these are the players, the younger players that I could find their PFF grades for, and I could average them out. And they make up our elite company average. So for the elite company average, their pass rush grade in their final year of college was 72 overall. Their run defense grade really high, 90 overall, and their coverage grade was 78 overall. So keep those all in mind. Keep the class average in mind. Keep the elite company company average in mind, because those are things I'm going to bring up later in this episode. All right, let's get to our day one fits now. We got 3 prospects in our day one. Remember, we're going to break down day 1, day 2, day 3, the best fits for all those days in the draft, and we're going to do a 2-round mock draft. So let's get right into it. The first linebacker we're going to talk about is Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. He is probably one of the best overall prospects, overall talents in this year's draft. 6'5", 243 out of Ohio State. I loved watching his tape. He's one of the best overall players in this year's draft. Not just linebackers, but players, Sonny Styles is. Let's get through some of my notes that I wrote here. He is the best natural linebacker in this class. So you hear the top 2 linebackers being both from Ohio State, Arvell Reese, and of course, Sonny Styles here. Now, the difference is Arvell Reese is not a traditional natural linebacker. He's more of a hybrid player. Teams are trying to figure out, will he work better as an edge rusher in the NFL, or will he work better as an off-ball linebacker in the NFL? For Sonny Styles, we know he's a natural linebacker, and he's the best overall natural linebacker in this year's class. Some things here. Long frame, as I mentioned, 6'5", 248, or 243. Great instincts and high football IQ. You can see he just reads, reacts, and attacks when he's playing out there on the football field. He's not guessing. He's diagnosing the play. He's diagnosing what's going on extremely quickly. He possesses tremendous explosiveness for his size, really explosive player, really big frame. And you think about that 6'5" frame, and it's hard to believe that he was actually a safety for his first 2 years at Ohio State. Year number 1 and year number 2, his freshman, sophomore year at Ohio State, he actually played safety. In his 3rd year, because of the arrival and emergence of Caleb Downs, he moved inside to linebacker, and that was actually the better fit for him as a linebacker. But I really like a linebacker, and he moved him over to safety. When I play Madden, and Madden's not real life, of course, but I really like to put these bigger safeties who can tackle and have a bit of speed to them and have good coverage skills, of course, and move them inside to play inside linebacker, because you're getting guys who have great coverage skills. They can tackle, which helps them be able to stop the run, of course, but they can also stick with a receiver or stick with a tight end up the middle, whether it's in zone or man-to-man coverage. They can go out there and go chase down and stick with a running back who comes out. Maybe he's running a flat route or a Texas route. Coverage skills are really, really important in the NFL. You got to be able to first, stop the run. That's your first responsibility. You got to be able to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to see the field as a linebacker. But you got to be able to also have good coverage skills. And I like that move because he learned a lot of coverage skills, of course, from playing safety for his first 2 years. Now he moves in at linebacker, and he's just really excelled as a linebacker overall. You can see that is the better fit for him heading into the NFL too. So he excels most near the line of scrimmage. That's something I noticed right away. He has good coverage skills, of course, but near the line of scrimmage, that's where he probably does his most damage, the most damage that he does. This year, he had 32 run stops. And over the past 2 seasons, he has 8 sacks on the quarterback and 24 QB hurries. He reads, he reacts, and he attacks. He gets his way through traffic, and he can diagnose plays extremely quickly. It's just a very impressive overall player. He has improved as a tackler. So in 2024, he had 19 missed tackles, and that was a big issue. That was a weakness for Sonny Styles. His inability to consistently tackle receivers and running backs down. 19 missed tackles in 2024. He brings that all the way down to only 2 missed tackles in 2025. Really good stuff from him. He's a great run disruptor also. Again, he works really good near the line of scrimmage. He wins with elite short area quickness and his ability to diagnose, then shoot through traffic. A few of my notes here. More of my notes. Styles' PFF grade. Remember, he said he improved as a tackler. In 2024, his PFF grade was a 59.6, and that has improved to a 92.2 for 2025. That has was an area weakness. Now tackling is one of his strengths, one of the many strengths that Sonny Styles possesses. That's an improvement of 32.6 points. From a Ohio State staff member, one of them mentioned that he is like having a coach on the field. He's a great leader. He has extremely high character. Just overall, he's kind of like a Jason Light, I'm that man type of guy. If he's there at number 15, which I don't think he's going to make it a 15, but if he's there, it's hard to see Jason Light passing him up, depending on who else is on the board when the Buccaneers would be selecting. So he wore the Block O out of Ohio State in 2025. That is the number 0. And number 0 represents toughness, accountability, and fight. He also wore the green dot in 2024 and 2025. The green dot, you give it to the quarterback of the defense most times, a linebacker. Levante David has been the green dot guy underneath Todd Bowles and before that as well. Essentially, he's calling out the play. So when Todd Bowles in the NFL, when we're talking about like Levante David, for example, Todd Bowles is calling the defensive plays and he's talking to only one player on the field, and that would be whoever's wearing the green dot. When Levante David is out there on the field, it's Levante David. And then he has to regurgitate that out to the other defenders, make sure everybody's in the right spots, make sure everybody knows what's going on. He's the top communicator, you could say, on defense. And Sonny Styles, at first, he didn't really feel too comfortable wearing the green dot, but overall, he built comfortability. And I think that's a really good skill moving in to the NFL, because if Levante David retires and the Buccaneers somehow are able to land Sonny Styles at number 15, or maybe have to trade up slightly, he's done this before. He's been the quarterback of the defense. So if Todd Bowles asks Sonny Styles, a rookie, to help him communicate with the defense and call out the plays for the defense, he has some experience doing that. So you like that moving into the NFL. All pro upside here. So my notes here. All pro upside. It's hard to envision him escaping the top 10 at the moment. So I've seen him go in mocks to the Washington Commanders. I've seen him go to the LA Rams inside the top 10. It's going to be difficult for the Buccaneers to land him at number 15. I think the Buccaneers would need to get lucky, of course, and I think it would help if there were more top-end quarterbacks in this year's draft. There's just really Fernando Mendoza. Ty Simpson's kind of like the consensus quarterback too, but nobody really has him in any mock draft that I see inside the top 15, and that would help push another player down the pecking order. So that's going to be an issue there. Can the Buccaneers land Sonny Styles at 15? It will be due to luck, really, because he's a really, really tremendous talent. All right, so his coverage grade is part of that elite company average that we talked about before. The elite company with guys like Jack Campbell, who the Buccaneers were actually going to draft a few years ago. The Detroit Lions drafted him beforehand, so the Buccaneers decided to go with Elijah Cansey. He's now an all-pro linebacker. Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, and Jordan Brooks of the Miami Dolphins. So his coverage grade is a part of the elite company average. He has an 86.9 coverage grade. That is 8.5 points above that elite company average. So that is Sonny Styles, tremendous player. The Buccaneers will be very fortunate and lucky if they're able to land him at number 15. But it's not too realistic. Let's get now to the second linebacker that I have for day number 1. Next up, we got C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia, 6'1", 235. He's one of 2 linebackers that are pro-ready I have here, that are truly pro-ready in this class. The top 2 linebackers, natural linebackers. It's him and Sonny Styles, who we just talked about. Just like Sonny Styles, he's a day 1 starter. He comes into your team, there's no question. He's going to be a starter at one of your linebacker positions. Watching Allen, some of my notes here. Watching C.J. Allen's film is boring in the best sense I have here. He just does everything right. He just does everything he's supposed to do. Playing in Georgia, he also is a green dot guy too. He does the things he's supposed to do. And it's kind of boring because he's not flashy by any means. He just gets the job done. And you like that. Players don't need to be flashy per se. They just need to get the job done. And that's what C.J. Allen does. He's been doing over in Georgia. Young player, he's going to be 21 years old by draft night. Wore the green dot, as I mentioned, at Georgia. Was truly the quarterback of that defense. He's a solid tackler and a solid run stopper. High football IQ. Great pre-snap awareness and play recognition. He's an effort and hustle player. Allen can hold his own in coverage, but would need to improve at the next level. So you can see here, his PFF coverage grade this year was a 56 overall. That's his biggest need and area for improvement. He needs to improve as a coverage defender. Now, he has the ability to do so, and you see flashes of that at times, that he's able to stick with tight ends and make some great plays, or a running back going out of the backfield. But he needs to improve as a coverage linebacker. But he does the thing you need to, most. You need your linebacker to be able to stop the run and be able to tackle. He does those things, and he has flashes and ability. He has the ability, the intangibles, to be able to stick with the receivers and be a good cover linebacker in the NFL as well. Allen states he's big on the little things. This is from one of the interviews I was watching with him. Everything is important, including all the walkthroughs and the meetings. He says you have to be able to translate what you learned from the meeting room to the walkthrough to the field. Everything matters. So he's really important on the small details. All the small details matter. Just like Sonny Styles, he's an I am that man type of, Jason Light type of player. Really high character, really smart player as well. Young, 21 years old, going to be 21. He's not even 21 yet at the time of this recording, I believe. But he's a really mature linebacker, really mature player also. Would I take Allen at 15? So this is in my notes here. No, I would not take Allen at 15. Not because I don't believe he's a good talent, but I believe you can get him a little bit later. If you're out of options, if, for example, Cassius Howe is gone by number 15 and Sonny Styles is gone by number 15 and other players you feel comfortable with at number 15 are gone, maybe you slightly trade back if somebody's willing to trade up with you. Maybe you move back to number 20 or somewhere, in that range. You pick up maybe a third-round pick or some additional picks, some more draft capital. And then by trading back, maybe CJ Allen's the option you go with, or a guy like Akeem Messidor also, who we talked about last week and last episode. So at 15, no, I would feel comfortable taking Sonny Styles at 15 because he's a better overall linebacker. I think he has a much higher upside, but not trying to say anything bad about CJ Allen. I just think 15, I think you can trade back. I think you'll still be able to get CJ Allen at 15, but we'll see as we get closer and closer and closer to the draft. Areas of improvement, as I mentioned, coverage grade. His coverage grade is a 55.6. That is 9.3 points below the overall linebacker class average. He needs to improve there. And that's 22.8 points below the elite company average. So he really needs to improve as a coverage defender in the NFL. But he is a part of the elite company group when it comes to his run defense. So his run defense grade is an 88.6, which is slightly above the elite company average of slightly below the elite company average of 89.9. So he's a part of that group overall. If you make a little bit of exception because he's just slightly lower than that, but his average is basically that average. That's the second linebacker in day number 2. Let's get to the final, in day number 1. Let's get to the final day 1 linebacker here up next. Our final day 1 linebacker is Anthony Hill Jr. And I'm not completely sold on Anthony Hill Jr. for full transparency as a round 1 selection. But I would understand the Buccaneers were to trade back and select Anthony Hill Jr. I would understand the move because he is a good linebacker who shows flashes of being a high upside production linebacker for you. He's a linebacker at Texas, 6'3", 238. In 2025, he had 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a very good missed tackle rate of 4.5%. So let's get through some of my notes here. Solid frame, 6'3", 238. He's young. He's going to become 21 years old on February 14th. So depending when you watch this video, he might already be 21 years old. He's really young, athletic, with good but not elite speed. I think he has really good speed, but it's not that top-end elite speed. But he is a good athlete overall, really athletic. It's one of his strong suits. He has high pursuit. He is now a sure tackler. As I mentioned, he has a 4.5 missed tackle rate in 2025. However, sometimes he tackles a bit too high. That's something I noticed on film in the NFL that may cause missed tackles, especially against bigger receivers or running backs. So if you tackle high, if you try to tackle, for example, a guy like Derrick Henry high, he's probably going to push you off. He's probably going to be able to gain extra yardage. You have to be a form wrap-up tackler and bring him to the ground. He has improved as a tackler. He'll had 18 missed tackles in 2024 and only 3 in 2025. So it's the same type of improvement from a missed tackling standpoint as Sonny Styles had. Sonny Styles had 19 missed tackles in 2024, only 2 in 2025. Really similar improvement by Anthony Hill Jr. 18 in 2024 for him, 18 missed tackles in 2024 to only 3 this year in 2025. His strength is that he's a stout run defender. He's a stout run defender who's really athletic and has really good flashes of being a turnover type of linebacker. He's a playmaker at times, 8 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 3 interceptions over the past 2 seasons. Although he flashed at times in coverage, he needs to continue to improve in the NFL. That's something you're going to see with a lot of these linebackers that we're going to talk about today. They're really good as a run defender, but they need to improve as a coverage defender. And you're going to see as we go, if there's a guy that's great at everything and perfect, player overall, perfect prospect, he would be a top 15. A lot of these guys are projects, developmental players they're not going to be all pros in year number one, but you have the intangibles. You can see potential that this player can be something else in the future, can be better than what they currently are, of course. You're hoping they can be. Although he flashed at times, as I mentioned, he needs to improve as a tackler. He'll improve the reception percentage allowed from 85% in 2024 to 71.4% in 2025. So improved slightly as a coverage linebacker in his final year of college. Those are the day one prospects. Let's get to the day two prospects now. And the day two is really, really loaded. And there's a fan favorite in there, of course. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's out of Texas Tech. You know how it goes. All right, so remember also to stick through the very end because we're going to have a 2-round mock draft using the PFF mock draft simulator. Let's get into our day two best fits. We're going to kick off our day two best linebacker fits with a big linebacker out of Cincinnati known as Jake Golday. Really good player. I'm really high on Jake Golday. He's projected as a round 2, round 3 type of linebacker. I've seen most mocks have him going in round number 2. In 2025, he had a 82 overall PFF grade, 3.5 sacks. And in 2024, his PFF grade was an 81 overall. So he's been consistent as a good player, a good linebacker for Cincinnati's defense. So my player notes here, traditional big linebacker frame. He's a very, very big linebacker, 6'4", 240, really big frame, really big linebacker. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of the state of Tennessee, coming out of high school. He began his college career at Central Arkansas, where the Buccaneers last year drafted David Walker Jr. He started at Central Arkansas as a defensive end. So he started as a pass rusher, not an off-ball linebacker. That's going to be a change that we're going to talk about here. When a new defensive coordinator came in, he moved Golday to linebacker, and he felt like Golday felt like that was the best fit for him. Golday mentions that he kind of felt like he found a newfound love for football again once he was moved back to linebacker, where he felt like that was his more natural fit, not rushing the passer as an on-ball linebacker, but as an off-ball linebacker. Learned how to, as a defensive end, as a pass rusher, he learned how to rush the passer as a stand-up defensive end, as an edge rusher. He had 4 sacks and 18 pressures in Cincinnati in 2025. He's a powerful, hard-nosed, athletic linebacker. He's a really big frame, but he has good flexibility, really good bend, good instincts as well as a linebacker. He has decent speed, so he has speed. He has NFL level speed, but it's not overly quick. It's not overly fast like a Sonny Styles, for example, who's the best linebacker in this class. But he has good enough speed to play in the NFL. He also has good stop and go ability. You see that he's stopping. He's seeing what's going on. He continues to attack. Solid run defender, really good as a run defender. He had a 91 overall run defense grade in 2025. So Cincinnati used him kind of pretty uniquely in a way. I noticed this pretty quickly. He has played 501 snaps in the slot. So this is a really big linebacker. Cincinnati had him playing in the slot, playing coverage a lot from the slot over the past 2 seasons. Even though he played a lot of linebacker from the slot, like a really, really big nickel. It's really, by textbook, like a really big nickel. He still needs to improve in coverage. But again, he started off his career as an on-ball edge rusher, like an on-ball linebacker rushing the passer. So you learn the pass rush skills there. You could see it on his film whenever he's a blitzing linebacker. You see his dip. You see his pass rush arsenal is there because he had 2 years of experience as an edge rusher. A year or 2 as an edge rusher. And then you see his coverage skills are improving because he's in coverage a lot from the slot position also. So these things kind of, they're a learning experience for him, but he's improving overall as a linebacker when you have him in coverage a lot, or you have him rushing the passer as an edge rusher a lot. He's taking all those skills, and he has a really big frame, good NFL size frame. I really like Jake Golday as a round 2 selection for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Other linebackers, but if the Buccaneers landed him day number 2, depending on, who else is on the board, all these things, that would be a really good pick. He has the ability to develop into an every down linebacker. I think he basically is already. He just needs to improve a bit more as a coverage defender, but if the Buccaneers draft him in day 2, he's basically going to be their starter. First day in OTAs, first day in rookie minicamp and training camp. He's part of the elite company average when it comes to his run defense grade. He has a 90.6 run defense grade, which is 6 points above the elite company average. So that is Jake Golday, really big, traditional frame, can do all the things you want him to do. would be a really solid round 2 pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to improve that linebacker room. But there's other day 2 linebackers we can get to, so we'll get to them now. Now let's get to Josiah Trotter out of Missouri, 6'2", 237. Really impressive on film. He's very athletic, and he is a stout run defender. That's where he excels. He excels as a run defender. He has great read and react skills. He's a downhill attacking linebacker, maybe the best downhill linebacker in this class. Can quickly diagnose to run, fill gaps, and attacks ball carriers head on. Trotter's foot is always on the gas pedal. So he has like all gas, no brakes, if you know that saying. He has no quit in him, I wrote down here. Can get off blocks well and can rush the passer with a solid inventory of pass rush moves for an off-ball linebacker. Has earned a pass rush grade of 81.6. That is the second highest in this linebacker class. He's a stout run defender, as I mentioned. He earned a run defense grade of 89.8 in 2025, which is the third highest in this linebacker class. Versus Vanderbilt, the right guard was pulling outside towards Trotter, and the linebacker Trotter lowered his shoulder, and he just threw him basically to the ground with his shoulder. He just like knocked him. It's like the right guard, the pulling guard, just fully like hit a brick wall. Trotter, he's extremely powerful, really good linebacker. He has great speed, sideline-to-sideline defender, needs to improve in coverage, allowed a completion percentage of 84.4 overall. 84.4%, which is tied for the fourth highest in this linebacker class. Trotter's coverage grade of 47.9 is 17 points below the linebacker class average and is tied for the third worst in this linebacker class. Really low there. Likely an early down linebacker as a rookie, but has the upside potential to become an every down linebacker with the right coaches around him to help him improve his coverage skills. So again, he's an attacking downhill thumper. He's really good at rushing passer. He's really good at stopping the run. He's a really good tackler also. The problem is his biggest weakness, like a lot of these linebackers we're going to talk about today, again, is the coverage skills for Trotter. He's part of the elite company average when it comes to his pass rush grade. His pass rush grade is 81.6. That is 9.7 points above the elite company average. And his run defense grade is 89.8, which is essentially equal to the elite company average. Let's keep going. Now, for probably my favorite linebacker that I watched on film, not saying he's the best, but my favorite edge rusher on film was from Texas A&M, which was Cassius Howe. I loved watching his tape. And it's going to be, for me, at linebacker position, my favorite linebacker to watch. Not saying, again, he's the best, but just my favorite to watch the film on was the linebacker out of Texas A&M, Terrion York. Terrion York, he's a small linebacker, but he has so much fire, so much violence, so much tenacity in him. You love to see it. So York is one of my favorite players in this linebacker class. He's undersized, and that's one of the biggest problems because he can do everything. The problem is he does not have a big frame to play linebacker in the NFL. That's a big problem. So he's listed at 5'10", 227, a very undersized linebacker. He's young. He's 20 years old. He has been a starter since his freshman year. So he was a true freshman starter at Texas A&M. Was projected to be a day 1 draft pick before the season began. He has now dropped into the day 2 conversation. He's a hard-nosed, tough, bold linebacker with speed who's unafraid to shoot a gap and attack the running back. This is why I loved watching his film, because he's so small, but he's not afraid of anybody. He's bold. He just goes in and he attacks and he does his assignment. He does his job to the best of his ability. He's a confident linebacker, really good instincts. He earned the 6th best coverage grade among all linebackers in college football. He's short. His shorter frame oftentimes. So if you have a shorter frame, what I wrote down here essentially is you have a shorter frame that essentially means you have shorter arms most times too. Those things kind of correlate, they go hand in hand. Will he be able to consistently wrap up bigger receivers and running backs in the NFL? So imagine we use Derrick Henry again as an example. Derrick Henry's running towards Terrion York. Will Terrion York be able to bring down a guy like Derrick Henry? We'd be able to bring down these bigger running backs and receivers and tight ends in the NFL. In coverage, also I have here, because of his frame, can he stick with taller assignments in the NFL? York is a do-it-all linebacker with a ton of talent, but can his speed, instincts, and bold nature overcome his lack of size in the NFL? So that's the big thing. Again, he's 5'10", he's 227. My favorite linebacker to watch on film. He reminds me a lot of, in a way, Nakobe Dean from the Philadelphia Eagles. Nakobe Dean, he's about 5'11", same kind of stature as Terrion York. And the thing that stands out to me is their explosiveness. They're just explosive players. They just see and react and they go and attack. There's no fear in their eyes when they're playing linebacker. They're putting fear in the opposing team, the opposing receivers, opposing running backs. So my comp for him, not saying he's exactly like Nakobe Dean, but because of frame and because of their explosiveness and their speed and athleticism, I kind of see him as a Nakobe Dean type linebacker in the NFL. He's a part of the elite company average with guys like Jack Campbell again, Jordan Brooks, Fred Warner, Roquan Smith. When it comes to his coverage grade, he had a 90.8 coverage grade in 2025, which is 12.4 points above the elite company average. Second highest among all linebacker prospects in this year's draft. That's Terrion York out of Texas A&M. Explosive, can do it all for you. But again, the question mark is the size. Let's keep going. Another entertaining day 2 linebacker to watch if you want to watch some film. Go look up Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis is very entertaining, and he's probably the best coverage linebacker in this NFL. The best natural cover skills come from Kyle Lewis, I would say. If he's not the best, he's up there. He's definitely top 2, top 3. So this Kyle Lewis is the linebacker out of Pittsburgh. Smaller frame like Terrion York. He's 5'11", 224. 3 sacks in 2025, 2 interceptions. He looks like a safety or a DB playing linebacker because of that frame, because of his coverage skills. Again, I really like a linebacker that can cover. You got to be able to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, then you're just a third down linebacker, essentially. You're just a specialty linebacker. But you got to be able to stop the run, and you got to be able to cover. I really like a linebacker that can cover, and he can do that. He can definitely cover. So he has 6 interceptions over the past 2 seasons. Again, he's undersized. He measured in at 5'11", 224 at the Senior Bowl. He's flashy. He's a playmaking linebacker. I have here in my notes, Energizer Bunny. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He's just flying around the entire field, making plays. His speed is unmatched. He's a really good linebacker. He's a New Jersey kid. He loves football. He began playing football when he was 5 years old. He recalled in a podcast playing on concrete and muddy backyards as a kid. He cannot remember a day from his childhood when he wasn't playing football. So, of course, loving football is a thing that a lot of the guys, is a passion for all these guys who are trying to make it to the NFL. But for a lot of these guys, the question mark is, I think John Gruden talks about it too sometimes. Is it about the money or is it about the football, essentially? Are you a football player or football player is, what John Gruden essentially says. And Kyle Lewis is a football player. He loves football. He lives and breathes football overall. Very athletic. Believed he could have been a running back also at the collegiate level too. Who was telling sometimes his coaches, hey, put me in at running back. Put me in at running back. He feels like because of his speed, he could just get past guys. He thinks also because of the fact that he knows how linebackers think, because he is a linebacker himself, that he knows how linebackers shoot gaps. He knows how linebackers try to attack certain looks. And he feels like knowing that knowledge and having the speed he has, if you put him out there at running back, he believes he could do a lot of damage. Really confident guy. Solid speed and athleticism. I would say great speed and athleticism. Actually, I'll boost that up from my original notes. Great fluid hips for a linebacker in movement and great change of direction ability. Can rush to passer. He had 10 sacks over the past 2 seasons. But what will happen in the NFL, I put down, when blockers get their hand on him first. So a lot of the ways he wins is with his speed and his bend and his movement. But if a linebacker gets their arm on him, Kyle Lewis, 5'11", 224, if an offensive lineman gets their hands on him in the NFL, are they just going to stop his momentum, just get a hold of him, and he can't do anything nowadays, fully eliminate him in his ability to get to the pass, the quarterback or the running back, whoever he's trying to attack back there. So that's going to be a concern for me in the NFL. He wins with speed and his instincts. He played over 30% of his snaps in 2025 at Pittsburgh at the slot position. That's 244 snaps. So like Jake Golday, a lot of time in the slot as a linebacker. He has the ability to be sticky in coverage. My final note here is, can he be an every down linebacker in the NFL, or will he be a specialized linebacker, a specialty linebacker in the NFL, maybe as a big nickel depending on the scheme? So that's the thing. because of his shorter frame, will he be able to still be effective as a run defender when he's trying to get to the quarterback? Are the offensive linemen going to get their hands on him and kind of just fully minimize his impact as a pass rusher, a pass rushing linebacker? That's my concern because of his size. Will he be just essentially like a guy that you have to kind of get creative with if you're a defensive play caller? Or is he going to be able to become an every down linebacker like Terrion York, overcome his size with his instincts and with his speed, with his explosiveness? We would have to see in the NFL, but he is the best coverage linebacker in the draft, in my opinion. Let's get now to the final day 2 linebacker, and he is a fan favorite. Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. This is one I'm sure many people have been waiting for. Jacob Rodriguez, yes, he's one of my favorite linebackers in this year's draft. He's just like a turnover freak. He's just a turnover machine. This guy we're going to get to it, but the question is about his size and about his speed. But man, the guy can play football. I think that's why you're seeing him being pushed and up and up and up draft boards in mocks, because I mean, he overcomes the problems that he has. He overcomes the speed. If a guy is just consistently making plays, I mean, who cares if he's a bit undersized? If he's doing the job at a high level and better than any linebacker in college football, or better than most linebackers in college football, I mean, he's good. He's good at what he does. That's, overall. So Jacob Rodriguez had a 93 overall PFF grade this year, which was the best in college football. He was ranked first according to PFF with his 93.3 overall PFF grade. First out of 804 eligible linebackers, college football linebackers all across the country. So he was the best linebacker according to PFF in 2025. He is a quarterback turned linebacker. He played quarterback in high school, began collegiate career in 2021 at Virginia Tech as a quarterback before converting over to linebacker. I have here the quarterback background has surely helped Rodriguez understand how quarterbacks will attempt to attack certain coverage looks. So when you're the linebacker, you're the quarterback of the defense. He's been the quarterback of the offense, and now he's the quarterback of the defense. Just knowing how quarterbacks think and they work and they operate and how they want to attack certain looks from the defense and certain coverages. I mean, this is why I think he's making so many plays. He lacks the speed, he lacks the athleticism, but he can make plays because he's really, really high football IQ guy, really smart guy. You think about a guy like Tom Brady. I'm not saying he's the Tom Brady of linebackers, but Tom Brady wasn't the most athletic linebacker. He wasn't the fastest linebacker. His combine footage is always made, put out there to essentially make fun of him in a way, because he's just extremely unathletic. He's not an athlete by any sense. But what separated him from everybody else? It was his brain, the way he thought, the way he just was able to diagnose what was going on out there in the football field, the way he prepared. So that football IQ, you could be a bit undersized like Jacob Rodriguez is. You could lack some speed. But if you have a very high football IQ, and you can kind of predict and guess correctly what opposing offense is going to do and how they're going to try to attack you, and you can jump ahead of routes, and you can just he's a really, really good linebacker. I think he's going to end up going in day 2. I don't see him falling in, landing in the back end of day number 1, at least right now. But I think he's going to be a round 2 linebacker. So let's continue here. He was a turnover machine. He had 10 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions, and 3 touchdowns combined over the past 2 seasons. Again, that is what separates him from all the other linebackers. Just his ability to always be around the football, to always turn the ball over. Was a turnover machine and highlight standout. He was a highlight standout performer during the Senior Bowl week. He does a great job also punching out the ball, or simply ripping the ball out, as he did versus Oklahoma State in 2025 and forcing the turnover. He's a high intelligent guy, a high football IQ guy, high effort guy as well. Tremendous production. Rodriguez is more times than not around the football or the action, always around the football. Again, undersized. That's one of the things here. 6'1", 235. That's his frame. Speed is a concern, but at the scouting combine, we'll get a better idea if he decides to run, what his speed ends up being. He's a decent tackler, but sometimes needs to improve in that area. He needs to improve as a tackler. 20 missed tackles in 2025. Needs to improve. That is the second most among this linebacker class. He had a 13.9 overall percentage for his missed tackle rate. That is 0.9% below the class average, so pretty average there. But again, that's an area for improvement. You can't have 20, missed tackles. You need to improve that. You need to clean it up. When guys like Anthony Hill Jr. just have 3 missed tackles and Sonny Styles just have 2, you got to clean up your tackles. You got to make sure you bring your receiver, the running back, bring your assignment down. He's not an elite pass rusher from the linebacker position, but he did produce 7 sacks and 16 quarterback hurries over the past 2 seasons. And he's a part of the elite company average when it comes to his run defense grade. He has a 94.8 run defense grade in 2025. That's 4.9 points above the elite company average. In terms of his coverage grade, he has a 92.3 coverage grade. That is 13.9 points above the elite company average. So really good linebacker. But again, his size, his speed is questionable. But again, his mind and his ability to just read, react, and make plays, be a highly productive linebacker is what separates him from the rest of the linebackers in this class. Now, I think he's going to end up being a round 2 pick, but we're not at the draft yet. So we will see as this process continues. But overall, I think he's going to be a good linebacker in the NFL with some really high upside, some possibly being really quality and effective starting linebacker in the NFL, but there's things he needs to work on, like his tackling, for example. So those have been our day 1 and day 2 linebackers. Now we got 2 more linebackers we're going to talk about in our day 3 linebacker best fits. Day 3 is a bit weak overall. It's like that with most positions, but remember to stick through to the very end because we have a 2-round mock draft coming up. Let's continue. Bryce Betcher kicks off our day 3 best linebacker fits. Bryce Betcher, he was a 2-sport athlete at Oregon, 6'2", 232, had a 77 overall PFF grade in 2025, a 90 overall PFF grade in 2024. Let's get to the player notes that have him in here. He's a high motor and competitive linebacker with good speed. He's built like a safety. So when you look at his frame, he's built like a safety. I think he could put on more size in the NFL. He's 6'2", 222. A lot of that was because he's a dual sport athlete at Oregon. He was playing football and baseball. When he doesn't have to worry about baseball now, I think he could put on more size, more weight in the NFL, more healthy weight, more muscle. He was actually pretty good at baseball here. He was a 13th round draft pick to the Houston Astros in 2024. He was the 2024 Burlsworth Trophy winner, which is an annual award presented to the most outstanding college football player in the United States who began their career as a walk-on. Since he was a kid, he was an Oregon fan. He wanted to play football at Oregon and play baseball at Oregon as well. He grew up as an Oregon Duck fan, so he was going to find his way there, and he found his way at Oregon as a walk-on. In his sophomore season at Oregon, Dan Lanning became the head coach. Betcher knocked on Dan Lanning's door, told him that he wanted to be a part of the team, and he began his football journey as a special teams player, and he developed into a starting linebacker for the Oregon Ducks. I watched his one-on-one film from the Senior Bowl for the practice week, and that's what stood out to me. That's what stood out to me for Betcher and for the next linebacker we're going to talk about. That's what put them on the map for me. Watching his one-on-one coverage skill drills from the Senior Bowl practices, he was able to hold his own for the most part in coverage. There's a lot of space to cover. So when you're having these one-on-one coverage skills, it's the defender versus the receiver. There's a lot of grass, a lot of area you need to cover. He was able to hold his own. A lot of times the receivers get the better, or the running backs get the better of the defender because there's just so much land, so much just grass for the defender to cover. He was able to hold his own, do the best he could, even though his back was against the wall. It's made to look like the receivers have the high, the upper hand in these kind of drills, not the defender, but he did a really good job there. He had also a nasty and powerful pass rush rep working against the Penn State running back at the Senior Bowl. Betcher dropped the running back to the ground. Boom. He put it with his hands. Can put on more size in the NFL, like I mentioned, because he no longer has to focus on baseball anymore. He's a sure tackler. He had a 10% missed tackle rate in 2025. As a rookie, he will likely be a special teams contributor who could develop into a linebacker, starting linebacker, or a high-end, backup linebacker. I think for a lot of these guys in day number 3, they're going to have to make the team through special teams, and especially if you're a linebacker in this case. you're going to have to start off on special teams like you did in Oregon, and hopefully you can develop into a starting linebacker or a linebacker that, if one of your starting linebackers go down, you feel comfortable with him coming in for, a short or possibly extended amount of playing time. So overall, he's not one of those guys who is going to shoot in to become a starter anytime soon. You just hope that he can develop into one day being a serviceable linebacker at the NFL level. His coverage grade was a part of the elite company average. It was equal to the average. It was 78.3. And let's get now to our final linebacker prospect for day number 3, right before we get to our mock draft. All right, out of TCU, we got Caleb Elamzor. 6'2", 230, had an 84 overall PFF grade in 2025. 4 sacks, 7.1 missed tackle rate. Pretty good there. He caught my eye after seeing his 1-1 drills, just like with Betcher from the Senior Bowl week. He displayed good coverage skills and the ability to rush the passer. He's a sure tackler, as I mentioned, 7.1 missed tackle rate. He has an 86.2 PFF tackle grade, which is really solid. 4 sacks, as I mentioned. He's patient at the snap. That's one thing I noticed. He has his patience. Kind of like Le'Veon Bell had patience as a running back. He has patience as a linebacker. He has patience. He's seeing what's going on. He doesn't there's no really false movements at the beginning. He's seeing what's going on, and then he attacks. Patient at the snap, then quickly reads and attacks. He has sideline-to-sideline speed. Solid run defender, 89.1 overall PFF grade in terms of run defense. Can hold his own in coverage. Per ESPN's Louis Riddick. And day 3 of the Senior Bowl practices, Kyle Lewis, who we talked about earlier, Jacob Rodriguez, who we talked about earlier too as one of our best bets, fan favorite, Caleb Elamzor, and Bryce Betcher, who we talked about the last linebacker, were flying around, making play after play after play. Such a fundamentally sound group, Louis Riddick says. Will likely start, we're talking about Elamzor here, will likely start his career as a special teams player, but has the ability and intangibles to develop into a quality depth piece or potentially a starting linebacker with the right coaches and personal effort. So again, that's just like with Betcher, with these day 3 linebackers, they're going to start off on special teams most likely, but you hope that you can develop them behind the scenes and make them a serviceable depth piece or serviceable starting linebacker for you if you need them in there. If you believe that they develop to the point where you can have them as a starting linebacker. But a lot of these guys are draft and development type of players. You like certain intangibles when we're talking, especially in day 3. You just like certain things about these guys. And these guys, they're not the best linebackers. They don't have the most talent overall, but you see potential that they can develop and become better than what they currently are, or at least serviceable in the NFL. Let's get now to our PFF 2-round mock draft. Thank you guys for watching so far. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe, and let's get to our mock draft now. All right, here we go. Our mock draft. We're going to do a 2-round mock draft. We got the mock draft ready, simulator ready to go. Of course, we're picking for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They hold the 15th overall selection in this year's draft. Let's get this started. Let's see who falls to the Buccaneers. Let's get some luck. Maybe we have, in a perfect scenario, Sonny Styles and Cassius Howell will both be there at number 15, but it's unlikely. All right, so let's see how that off. Oh, look at right here right away. So Cassius Howell falls to the Ravens, 14 overall, goes 1 pick ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sonny Styles, I don't see. Oh, okay, there we go. The Chiefs select Sonny Styles, 9th overall. All right, so you have, of course, Fernando Mendoza going with the 1st overall selection. You have Ruben Bain at Miami, the top edge rusher in this class, falling to the Jets, number 2 overall. Is probably where the draft starts. It starts number 2 because we know Fernando Mendoza is going to go number 1. Who goes after that? David Bailey, probably the 2nd best edge rusher in the class, go number 3 overall to the Cardinals. This is good right here. Jeremiah Love goes 4th overall to Tennessee Titans. Is that likely? No. With Robert Saleh, probably wants a good defender or an offensive lineman to help out Cam Ward. But we don't have a lot of quarterbacks who are talked about as like true first round talents. You really just have Fernando Mendoza. You have Ty Simpson, but he's not talked about really in the first 15. It helps out when there is an inflation of quarterbacks that go before the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick, because then you have better talent fall down. The quarterbacks get inflated and get pushed up. So that means you have better talent for you, hopefully for positions that you need fall down the draft board because those quarterbacks getting pushed up. In this case, you don't have a quarterback, multiple quarterbacks getting pushed up, but you do have Jeremiah Love in this scenario going number 4 overall. Don't think it's going to happen, but for the mock, it's good. All right, so we get a run of Ohio State players who would get Carnell Tate, wide receiver, going to the Giants, number 5. That pair him up with Malik Neighbors for Jackson Dart. That's good there. Caleb Downs, safety for the Browns. Todd Monken, now the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, former offense coordinator for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers also interviewed him this cycle to potentially be one of their offensive coordinator candidates, or the hire, but he decided to take the job. If he didn't take the Cleveland Browns job, he was probably going to go with, of course, Harbaugh over in New York with the Giants. Arbel Reese going to the Washington Commanders there. You got Sonny Styles, of course, going to the Chiefs. We talked about that one. Peter Woods. You have Mansoon Delane going to the Miami Dolphins. They do need cornerback help, so that one makes sense there. All right, and Cassius Howell gets picked. All right, to the Ravens. So who do we have? So who would fit? Let's look. You do want to set yourself up so you're in a best player scenario, best player available scenario. But let's see, best player scenario at the positions that we need. That would be a perfect pairing. You do have C.J. Allen right there at number 15 available. You have Kendrick Falk, who is a very big frame edge rusher. 6'6", 285. We talked about him last week, but he's a better run defender, of course, than he is a pass rusher, but he's very young. I believe he's 21 years old. He definitely can improve as a pass rusher in the NFL. He has all the skills. He's very explosive for his size. But right now, the Buccaneers need a guy who can get to the quarterback. You had Akeem Messidor, who we selected last time. He's a bit older. He's going to be 25 when draft night comes around, or you see 24.8 right now. That's his age. That's a question mark, but he's probably the most pro ready. Like right now, you can put him in, and he's gonna produce for you. You probably get more sacks right now than in his rookie year. If he increases, he gets more than 7.5. That'd be more than Yaya Diaby as his highest career season sack production for the Buccaneers. You got Mason Thomas, Anthony Hill Jr., Gabe Hackis. All right, so I think this case, let's see if we can trade down and we can still acquire one of these guys, because I don't really feel confident selecting one of these guys 15th overall. Not saying they're not worth that pick, but I feel like they'll still be there, if we trade down, acquire more draft capital, and maybe that'll give us more, flexibility in round 2. All right, let's see. So we have multiple teams wanting to trade back with us. We could trade back with the Dallas Cowboys. We could also trade back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We could do Bears at number 25. Let's not trade back too far for this one, because I do want right now, my favorite of that bunch is going to be Akeem Messidor, because edge rush is a big need. I feel like we could find a lot of quality linebackers in day number 2 for Buccaneers. So let's look at the Steelers here, and let's say we'll give them our 15th overall, because that's what they want for their 21. And let's be real stingy here. Let's try to get their number 2. I don't know if it's going to get approved, but we'll get their first round pick. We'll swap picks, move down 6 selections, and we'll get their second round pick as well. Let's see if they accept it. No, it's not accepted. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, let's trade down. I do want to acquire, so we're doing a 2-round mock draft. I do want to acquire an additional second round pick. Let's see if the Bears would accept that scenario. Yes, okay, so the Bears accept that scenario. We're going to move down to number 25, closer to the end of the draft. And look. No Akeem Messidor taken. So we're going to go with Akeem Messidor. We're not going to take an off-ball linebacker now in C.J. Allen, who will be really good for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I feel like we could still find quality linebackers in the second round, and we have 2 second-round draft picks now. So let's go with Akeem Messidor for this one. All right, so we're going to get an edge rusher, Akeem Messidor, who is ready from day number 1 for Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles needs somebody, this is likely Todd Bowles' last year. He needs somebody who can go in right now and acquire, have high sack production, 8 to 10 sacks, somewhere in that range. I feel like he can, is reasonable for him in his rookie year. All right, so let's see, we got Mason Thomas off the board, T.J. Parker off the board too at the edge rush position. They gave you Akis, who has a wrestling background, really big, physical edge rusher. We're not going to do any more trades, but we will filter this out so we can get an edge rusher. Ooh, Zion Young is there. Jake Goldday is there. Ooh. We double dip? Do we double dip? Okay, because let me see. There's a drop off, I believe, in this day 2 class for the edge rushers. Yeah, you got Nadeem Tucker, who's more of a late 3rd round, 4th round type of draft pick. And okay, so we have 2 second round draft picks now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double dip at the edge rush position. I'm going to go with Zion Young, big body, physical edge rusher, 6'5", 262. We got Akeem Messidor in the first round. We're going to get Zion Young in the second round. Kind of has that Yaya Diaby type frame, but I feel like a little bit stronger overall. But Yaya Diaby, he's like basically like a freak out there in the football field in terms of his size. He's like looks like he's an edge rusher made in a lab. But we're going to double dip at the edge rush position because again, and you see Zion Young 8 sacks here. The Buccaneers need an edge rusher. They got one in Akeem Messidor. But Yaya Diaby is also entering the final year of his contract. I think if you just boost that room, injuries happen throughout the year. And we have 2 second-round draft picks because of that trade down. So we're going to double dip here at the edge rush position. We're going to get Zion Young, big, physical edge rusher who better run defender than he is a pass rusher, but he has all the intangibles you would like in an edge rusher. He's a bigger. He doesn't win with speed and finesse. He's a power guy. He's a strength and power guy. All right, so let's look at the linebackers now because we definitely need a linebacker now. We got Josiah Trotter, again, downhill thumper. Dante Lawson, I didn't really, he had an ACL injury in 2024. His 2025 tape, I know people like him, but it just didn't stand out to me. We do have Jacob Hernandez here. We have Tyrion York. Jake Goldie is gone. Jake Goldie would have been a nice pick. You got Kyle Lewis here too, the best coverage linebacker in the draft. For me, it's between Jacob Hernandez and Tyrion York. I really like Tyrion York, and I like Jacob Hernandez. I like both of these guys. I like Tyrion York's potential a lot. But again, we talked about the instincts. We talked about the fact that Jacob Hernandez is a playmaker. He's a turnover machine, rated as PFF's best linebacker in 2025. I think it would be a really good draft. I really like Tyrion York. I'm kind of torn right now, okay? Tyrion York, he's undersized, but he's a fighter, man. He's bold. He's aggressive. He's violent. Oh, man. And everybody's saying probably, go Jacob Hernandez, go Jacob Hernandez. But I'm torn, man. Okay, let's go. Tyrion York can do it all. The question mark is just the size. I'm going to go with Tyrion York. Controversial pick, okay? Controversial pick. Let me know in the comments who you would have gone with here. But he's going to be a good linebacker in the NFL. I think he's going to be able to overcome those size issues. Like Nakobe Dean was able to overcome those size issues. And Nakobe Dean, he's been suffering some injuries. Of course, 2024 hindered his 2025 season early on, was out. But I'm going to go with Tyrion York, okay? I think overall, and who cares about what the PFF grades say here? Hopefully it's good, right? Tyrion York, they give me an F here. Okay, whatever. Some of these grades need to be updated and all these kind of things because guys going to move up and down the draft board. So it's saying, like, for example, you drafted Tyrion York, but this player here, this guard at Texas A&M was higher up on the PFF draft board. Okay, all right, but we get 2 edge rushers in this draft here, this mock draft. We get Akeem Messidor. He's a day one, ready to go talent. I think you put him and Yaya Diaby across from each other. I think Akeem Messidor would actually have more sacks his rookie year than Yaya Diaby would in his final year of his contract, Diaby's. Then you have Zion Young, a guy who's really big, 6'5", real physical. He can generate sacks, but he's a better run stopper than he is a pass rusher. But he has 8 sacks in 2025. Strong, powerful guy. Just need to continue to build up that room. The Buccaneers do have David Walker Jr. from Central Arkansas coming back, and they do have, of course, Anthony Nelson. So if you have an edge rush room of Akeem Messidor, Yaya Diaby, Zion Young, David Walker Jr., and Anthony Nelson, that's not a position of weakness anymore. That's a position of strength. That is a very important position. Injuries are going to happen. One of you guys is going to go down. And when one of you guys go down, guess what? Zion Young comes in to fill in that spot. Or David Walker, we'll see how he's coming back off of his torn ACL that he suffered day number 3 at training camp. But then at the linebacker position, Levante David retires. But remember, we acquired an additional second-round pick because that trade down with the Chicago Bears. We get Tyrion York, undersized, but go watch his film. He's one of my favorite linebackers to watch. Real undersized, 5'10", but the Buccaneers have drafted a guy like Savasi Dennis before, who's undersized. He's only 6 foot. This is 2 inches shorter than that, but he's fearless out there at the linebacker position. Let me know in the comments how you feel about who would you have gone with, Jacob Rodriguez or Terrion York? I really like Terrion York. I think this is a really, really good mock draft here overall. Please, if you have not done so already, please make sure you like and you subscribe and you share. Share this with Buccaneers fans. Share this content out with Buccaneers fans that if they don't know about Fear the Bay, let them know about Fear the Bay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I am your host, Danny Morales, signing out. Bye-bye.